Good morning, everyone. Today is July 2nd. One day closer to July 4th, when I would start training my birds. I'm going to title this video Red, White, and Blue. If you like the video, give thumbs up. Probably going to be a little long, but it's definitely going to be worth watching. Before I go into that, I want to thank all of you, all of you, for your comments. They're important. The things you put down often help a beginner to questions you asked also help beginners. So, from the bottom of my heart, I truly thank you for your comments and your input. It's very much appreciated. But now let's go back in time. A long time. On Long Island, they had a race. It was the red, white, and blue race. And it encompassed all of Nassau and Suffolk County. It was a big Futurity race. And the way to race worked was they would let up the red birds. Let's say it's 7:30. They would let up the white bandit a half hour later at 8 o'clock. Now, I'm sorry, to white birds a half hour later, and then red last. The bluebirds a half hour later. So they were spaced a half hour apart. And the pooling in that race, with average speed with a combined 3 races, the individual bird that you bet on each race total encompassed a lot of money. It was a big Futurity race. About 2 weeks before the race, maybe 3, probably 3 weeks, we weren't flying very well. We weren't doing well. A flyer by the name of Rocco gave my brother a jar of liquid with a quart jar. That big, you know. It's a medicine in it. He wouldn't tell us what it was, but he did tell us to make sure the birds are drank it all. When we gave him that medicine, the birds were very reluctant to drink it, but we left it in there, took his advice, until the birds drank it all. I think it took 2 or 3 days before it was gone. Them pigeons did not want to drink it. The pigeon. Week after that we flew in the Bayshore Club at the time. I believe too. We flew very well. Birds really came in well. Well, when we went to ship that race, my father was in the pigeon house. And it was a blue checkered female sitting on top of the trap where we come in. It's a little triangular thing that comes in, and she was sitting on eggs up there. The same situation that you would see here in one of the videos with the 500-mile winner. He nest up in that same situation. Is very similar to the pigeon house we had in New York. When we were picking the birds, my father said, "Send that female last. Make sure you send her last." We did follow his advice. Well, when the birds came home, I wasn't there. My brother John timed the birds. We wouldn't have had the money to ship the birds if my brother John wasn't working. I think it cost him like $125 to ship that race. He timed the red bird. And just about a half hour later, he timed the blue bird, the female that my father said let up last. 2 minutes later, we timed the white bird. When we went down to the club, Henny Hubble, the secretary, opened the timer. My brother and I were there. And he said you only timed 2 birds. We said no, we timed all 3. He said, something's wrong here. You timed this blue bird before the white birds. Every white bird. And he wanted to throw us out. Well, you should have heard. My brother and I at that point in time. We didn't cheat. He said we were cheating, something was wrong. The bird went in the wrong crate. And I said to him, how do we do that? We shipped all the red birds and sealed the baskets. We shipped all the white birds and sealed the baskets. And then we shipped all the blue birds and sealed the basket. You tell me how my pigeon got in with the white birds or the red birds. Thank God Charlie Law Office was there, because the argument was getting pretty serious and it was quite a bit of profanity used. But anyway, Charlie, I remember him tapping me and my brother on the head and said, kids, you just won your first Futurity race. It was a lot of money. A lot of money, if I recall correctly. With over $7,000. And when you're earning $1.50 an hour, with $250 an hour, I'd like a year's worth of wages. That we won that day. But there were lessons learned on that day. And this is what's important about that story. The first thing I learned that day. But the pigeons needed some kind of medication. I didn't know what it was. My father also seen something in that female that made him tell us, make sure you ship that pigeon last. Another lesson learned. And your females last? Also, what motivated that bird? I don't know to this day what my father saw. But that pigeon would definitely motivated. I got notes here. So if I glanced down, that's what I'm looking at. I also learned civility. I caught many a beating because I wanted to race pigeons. My father really wasn't interested at the time. He told me, if you build the pigeon house, I'll get you the birds. Big mistake to tell me that, because I was going to build that pigeon house. The way I got the lumber, we won't go into, but I'm going to tell you. Like what many have beaten. Building that pigeon house, it finally got to the point where he said stop. I'll build it. I caught a lot of beatings. In fact, after the race. Because he went down and collected the money. I sat next to him. I said, aren't you glad I got that lumber to build pigeon house? I almost caught another beating. I thank my father. Thank you, Dad. But some of them beating, I deserved every one of them. But what were the lessons here? Medicate the birds. Find out what motivation works. And I also learned to let the pigeons teach me. All these things are important. And they're in the videos. All of them. The past videos. So, check the channel. Look at some of them old videos. Give it a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up. And please, keep the comments coming. Everybody learns from those comments. You and me both. And again, thank you very much for watching.